What's up, everybody? Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on the Space Engineers Inspiration series. We're starting things off today with the Endurance 2. At least I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. This is actually a really intriguing build to me. So it was loosely based on the SpaceX space station, but then it was kind of ad-libbed from there based on the two designers that built it, right? What's interesting to me about this is it looks really good, looks pretty cool, and although I'm not super up on all of the looks and designs of SpaceX, so I can't speak to its authenticity, it looks pretty legitimate to something that would actually be designed. Now, the caveat here that I find more impressive than anything is that this is a survival build, and that doesn't mean it's for survival, it means it was built in survival. That's impressive to me. That's kind of crazy, because we see a lot of crazy builds and stuff like that, but to actually see something that was done in-game, not just from a creative standpoint, kind of nuts. Kind of nuts. So that made it infinitely more impressive to me. I'm also very impressed with this ring. There's a lot of spinning things, which we all know how much I like that. I'm actually kind of curious how they did this, to be honest. It looks like it's... Man, how did they do this? It looks like there's rotors connected to half blocks, and then a solar panel connected to the rotor, and then full blocks on top of the... No, not on top of that. Are they connected to the... Oh, they're slope blocks, and I'm guessing they're built onto the solar panels, or possibly off of the half blocks. Yeah, that's gonna be my guess. Is that it's actually half blocks to rotors, rotors to solar panels to half blocks, and then the rest of it gets built back on top. That's gonna be my theory. Now, one intriguing thing is I just pasted this in. I don't know if it pasted it in as a station or not, but it does keep moving. It keeps shifting. And I don't know... It's got to be pasted in as a ship, because if it's not, I don't know how it would move. Because theoretically, stations are static grids. But you can even see even the lighting from when we started, that the solar panels are now up, that they're rotating. Looks like right there is the rotor. Yeah. So, yeah, overall, I just really think it's cool. And very, very, very impressive that it was actually built in survival. That I think is the nutsy part to me. I mean, it's one thing to design something in creative and then build it in survival, but it's another to have just built it in survival. So, that's kind of nuts. Also, there were a couple of mining ships and a shuttle or something else that was left on the blueprint, and they just left it and said, you know, free ship kind of thing. But there's also a landing craft right here, which you can see the three connection points and then the ramp into it. So that's kind of the interplanetary. I'm guessing that this stays out in space, this goes to and fro kind of thing. I'm thinking it's not pasted in, or I mean, it's not a static grid, because there's actually thrusters on here that I noticed. So I thought they were all part of the fighter or shuttle, but I guess not. So let's explore this first. Ooh, very good use of the antenna thing too, I like that. I've never found a use for this yet in my personal builds. Alright, so there's the door. Is there gravity to this? Oh, there is. Okay, cool. Whoop! There is, and then it flips around, and that's interesting. Okay, airlock depress, pressurize. Right? Okay, that opens. Where's this go? That goes into the ship. Where's this go? Oh, okay. So we've got another area here. Now, I did also mention that there are multiple... Oh, there's another airlock, it looks like. Or maybe a maintenance area, I'm not really sure. But it did mention also that there's a few empty areas, so... And again, keeping in mind that this was built in survival in a real like, survival playthrough scenario kind of thing, that makes sense. There's going to be areas where you built something for aesthetic on the outside or something, but then there's room left over, or you just didn't know what to put there, blah, 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 blah. So I'm less critical of that. I've been kind of voicing that criticism in the last few episodes of builders leaving areas just kind of unfinished or blank, but the kind of asterisk to that is the it's different when you're doing it in survival and you're not using, like, doing flying around and using the creative tools and all that kind of stuff. It's like you're kind of designing and building on the fly, so that's a little bit more understandable than when you're actually, like, planning out and building everything yourself kind of thing. But overall, it's a really cool setup. It definitely has that more practical feel of things you might actually see happening in real... I mean, again, it's loosely based on SpaceX, which is an actual project, so, you know, you're going to get more practical NASA-type approach to things rather than some of the sci-fi movie inspirations that we all know and love. So I haven't really been talking too much about some of these areas, but I feel like, again, since it has a more practical approach to it, a lot of them are fairly straightforward, like crew quarters and whatnot. No, we want to see what's in the captain's room. Apparently he does not... Wait a minute, this did say captain's quarters, right? It does. Okay. So I guess he has his own private, or they have their own private airlock, because this... yeah, I guess that's what it is, because I was like, wait a minute, why did I open this to just nothing? But yeah, so he has his own private airlock, which is cool, and then we've got a suite, and I'm guessing this goes to an external, or another airlock, or something, so that's kind of intriguing. Screw it, we'll see what it is. I think that's what this button up here is for. Can I reach it? No, I cannot. Let's see if that works. Okay. Okay, so this is... Oh, there's another entrance here. Okay, this goes down to another welding ship area. And I think that's the rotor for one of the solar panel arrays, so it's kind of like a maintenance area type of thing. I'm not sure why that door got out of sync, but whatever. Okay, so this spits us back out to this central area with the mess hall and everything, which makes sense. I think there was another area down here. We saw the medical bay, but we didn't go this way. So there's main engineering. Gosh, I can't think of actually having to build all this without having designed it first in, like, creative or something. That's nuts. This is a big build for something like that. And so, in a way, mad props. So, highly complimenting the builders here, because I feel like that's at least a couple of times harder to do, like 2 or 3 times harder to do, to build it all in survival and not have it designed first. But that may just be me, I don't know. So we've got... This looks more like a maintenance area. Again, you'd need some of this stuff for survival, whereas if you're just building it to look pretty and creative, then we don't always have to worry about that kind of stuff. But in an actual Let's Play or survival type situation... Okay, sorry about that. So, there was some noise outside, people doing lawn work and whatever was getting into my recording. So I noticed this thing called avionics bay. I'm kind of curious what this is. I'm not familiar with that term, but it makes me think it has to do with the thing actually flying, I would think? Aviation, avionics. It seems to be a server room, essentially, because you've got a bunch of timer blocks and whatnot. So I'm gonna go with some kind of mainframe system that keeps the ship flying, so it's has to do with that. We've got a refinery and production bay back here. Oh wait, I backtracked. I went the wrong way. Whoops. Or wait, did I? No. think I just actually came down over here and then went back that way. Okay, well that makes more sense. So we've got more production areas here, looks like assemblers and... nope, just assemblers. I thought maybe there was some oxygen generators and whatnot. But I don't see them. I'm sure they're on here, but I don't see them. One thing that I did forget to mention earlier, just because I was looking around and looking for things that I missed, is that in the description it did mention that this is in no way designed for combat. So that's something to note, that if you guys end up using this for anything, it is not a combat vessel by any stretch, apparently. So I think here we're into the rotation part, which I'm actually kind of surprised even has an interior, if I'm honest. And by the way, I like this. Airlock press for pressure front bit. That's kind of funny. I think if that's meaning what I think, just like it's the front area, that's a funny way to label it, but that's cool. At least it's clear. So we got some hydrogen engines here, gravity generator here, more hydrogen engines. And it looks like this point is now exterior and not accessible through the main area. So that's kind of interesting. Alright, so, nope. So, what we're going to do is we're going to head back up to the bridge. Dagnabbit! We're gonna head back up to the bridge. Said. And, well, actually, let me double check and make sure I didn't miss anything up here. This was that area I said was probably for maintenance. Oh, we did miss this. There's the oxygen generators. I knew there had to be some, somewhere. Well, I say I knew, I suspected. I suppose it wouldn't be the first ship that I've ever seen that didn't have oxygen on it, but they're rare. Okay, so let's see if we can find our way up to the bridge. We've got the canteen here. I imagine the bridge is back this way, not only because we haven't really gone back here too much. Wait, that's crew quarters, cryo chambers. We did go back here. But we need to go up. too, we need to be going up. Interesting. Dock 2, Captain's Quarters. We saw that. That's the airlock. So how do I get up there? Color me intrigued. Oh, wait. Upper main engineering? Did I go this way? Oh, wait, there's a... Here we go. I was gonna say there's an elevator thing here that I missed before. I don't know if I actually looked in here. Yeah, we did. Okay, I flew up there. Okay, so we've got a piston elevator thing, which I'm really glad that they changed the collision boxes. This is really cool. It's got that glass elevator feel. Really neat. I do like that they changed the collision boxes for that. That's so cool. Okay, so now we're in the upper section. We've got extra large dock 1. I'm guessing that's what that stands for anyway. Warp engineering. Okay, I'm guessing jump drives? Airlock 8 depressurize, okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Good grief. There's a lot of jump drives. What is this thing? An unfinished one. Okay. That's cool. There's a lot of them in here. This thing must have a huge jump range. Oh, that's... Is that glass? No, it's actually not. Interesting. That must be why there's an airlock back there. Okay. I'm getting stuck. One thing I will say that I think is kind of comical is you can actually tell that this isn't a survival build because everything has like super strict airlocks where you've got to like hit buttons to even turn the doors on and stuff. It's like there's no accidental depressurizations and stuff like that because it's like if we do, we're screwed. So I think that's kind of funny. Ooh, very nice bridge. Very nice. I really like all the open look to it. Okay, which one? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Guessing not this one. Nope. Nope. It's weird because they don't actually say not the main. Here we go. Got it. Okay. So we have station gyroscopes, which we'll probably need to turn on. Hydrogen thrusters. Now this was something that in the description I read was, I think it's this turns it on, and then 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 are like your different axis rotations, I believe, and then we've got the various thruster controls. Okay, so let's pan back here. We have turn the gyroscopes on, and then if we, oh, that's decrease. If we increase, is that a lock? That's interesting. It's not actually going anywhere. I wonder if this got pasted in as it doesn't say either. Interesting. Okay. Oh, now it's moving. That's weird. It's weird because the 3 button didn't show an increase in RPMs, which is kind of odd. Oh, I guess it goes in increments. Now it's at 1. So now you can see it actually moving and turning. That's interesting. That's a really neat way to do it. Okay, then we can turn that off. We can turn all of these on. So it is not exactly, it is a station, but it's not really pasted in as one. That's interesting. Okay, so that's that. One thing I do want to check out really quickly, because we're running out of time, is I do want to check the lander. I might end up clipping some of this, so if I say like I'm running out of time and you guys don't think so, well, I probably clipped some less than useful stuff. So now we're out here. Ooh, I'm gonna enter this away. Okay. So what do we got here? Guessing that's the bridge, especially since it's the bridge. Wow, that's hard to read. It's like 2 light colors. So we got production here. And like I said before, I believe this is the interplanetary lander thing. So this is basically designed for going to and from the planet's surface up to the station here. Got a jump drive. Medical room. Ooh, this is cool. A lot of interesting colors here. That's neat. Oh, okay, this loops back around here. Interesting. Okay, okay. Let's check out the bridge. I do like the bridge designs. They've got these cool open glass views here. Okay, so we are currently locked. Oh, yeah. Hit 8. We'll pull the ramp back up, because we don't want that there. And let's see. Let's do thrusters on. Don't know if there's any other thrusters or not. I don't think there are. We're gonna... Oh, that's dock front. Let's try it, because it says it's locked. If we unlock... Yep, okay, so now we're free. And overall, it flies pretty good. It's a little on the heavy side in the turning. Acceleration's pretty quick, though. But again, this is predominantly for transport type things, so it doesn't really surprise me. So with that, I think that's going to do it for this one. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so next up we have the KDY 9/16 Victory Victory 1 Class Star Destroyer KDF Fleet Insignia. And yes, totally got that from memory. Now the important part there is the 9/16, because if I understand that correctly, that would mean 9/16 scale. So it's not 1:1. If I'm understanding that correctly. Looks really cool. Looks really, really cool. Almost resembles a Lego build, honestly, with all the little bumps on it. But I really like the look of it. I've seen a lot of Star Destroyers, honestly, in a game like Space Engineers. Star Destroyers and Enterprise ships are kind of a dime a dozen, but good ones, not so much. And I would consider this one of the better ones, because it actually has a really, really cool look to it. I'm not positive, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the bumpy texture may not actually be just have to. It almost looks like an attempt at making that greeble kind of look, because you can even see some of the blocks with antennas, or not antennas, interior pillars with lights on them and stuff. So I'm pretty sure this was all intentional. But with that in mind, it is even cooler in a way, because that's not even a, well, and I say with that in mind, with that assumption in mind, assuming it's correct, then it would be kind of one of those, like, it's not even a, well, this is all I could do, it's actually on purpose kind of thing. But I like the outer silhouette and everything, like, it just looks really good, and I really, really like this bridge area here. This is cool. This area is really cool looking. A couple of things, it is modded, but in the description it mentions it's only a few, I think there's 4. And a couple of them were like the force field mods, so that you could actually have the shielded hangars, which I'm assuming, yep, there it is. So you got the shielded hangar type thing. There's a Star Wars weapon mod pack, stuff like that. Just a couple minor things to give it a more accurate look to it. And I think it looks really good. Like, they did a really good job on it. The other reason that I picked this one, there are a couple of caveats to this. The first being that in the description it does mention it is not survival ready. I do believe it is airtight, but is not survival ready. Look at all the greeble work back here, though. This is just so detailed. And I'm not even sure if any of it really needs to be there for functionality, or if it's just for the look. But it's nailing it. Like, the look is awesome. But yeah, so it's not survival ready. A lot of the turrets and things like that apparently are not properly conveyor connected due to performance impact. So to keep it more smooth, they didn't actually connect up a lot of the conveyor ports and things. So if you wanted to survival, you'd have your work cut out for you. But in terms of building and design, I think there's a lot in here that you could really, like, even just some of this stuff. Obviously, like I said, there are a few mods. You'd have to watch out for modded blocks if you didn't want to use them, like those right there. Those look like 3x1s. Oh, 3x1 slopes. Called it in one. I'm getting better, people. I'm starting to recognize stuff. I've been doing this long enough. What has this been, like 6 years or something like that? I've been making Space Engineers videos. Finally getting it. But yeah, so the other reason that I picked this, though, is aside from the survival ready part, it actually has an interior. And I know that sounds weird, but I've looked at a lot of big capital vessel type builds, and most of them, especially movie builds like Star Wars, Star Trek, Alien, you know, pretty much anything on a very popular classic movie kind of thing, or series or whatever, even Stargate and all those kinds of ones, they usually are so big that to get the shape and look right, that most of the time, either for performance or time or patience or sanity, whatever, they don't usually end up doing a really detailed interior. It may be passable, it may function, but usually the interiors are where bigger builds like this end up lacking. And according to the screenshots, I was thoroughly impressed with the amount of work that had been put into the interior. Not to say that it's, you know, perfect or anything like that, because, I mean, anybody that's, you know, looked at other builds and stuff, there's always, like, if you got room and stuff like this, there's always stuff you could add if you wanted to. But I was just thoroughly amazed at how much of an interior this actually appeared to have, according to the screenshots. Even like the you know, down to having a I don't know what the tractor beam. I was gonna say reactor, and then I was like, no, this wasn't a reactor. It was a tractor beam room. You know, stuff like that. Now this is a cool touch. I really like this. I'm trying to figure out where they hid the spotlight. It's gotta be under the ore detector, maybe. I'm trying to think if that would still bleed through. Yep, that's it, right there. You can see the light coming through. I do like spotlight tricks. Again, with the that was kind of the whole point of the inspiration series was building techniques and things like that, and finding what worked, what didn't. You know, what was cool, what you liked, what you didn't like, stuff like that. And I love light tricks. The light tricks are really cool. And so it's like that, to pull that off, learning that you can actually bury a spotlight and it still show through, that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty neat. I also like this kind of stuff. They used incomplete catwalks for a graded look, and then put half slopes on the side. Very nice. Very nicely done. Sometimes it's the little things, but it actually sells the build. Now this is interesting. I'm guessing this is supposed to be turbo lift, would be my guess. I almost said elevators, and then I was like, wait, I gotta think in lore. Am I facing the wrong way? I'm facing the wrong way. Dagnabbit. I'm trying to figure out if there was any areas here. Okay. Actually, so far, if I had one complaint so far with the build, it would be that they actually did well enough with it that I'm kind of surprised that the color palette isn't different, because usually there was at least a couple of different tones in Star Destroyers and stuff like that. Though I will admit my nerd knowledge does. Wait, what? Commodore 64, 512 kilobytes of RAM. That's funny. I love those little Easter eggs. That's great. But I will say, this build is not the typical Imperial Star Destroyer you're used to seeing. I don't remember which one this was, but the designation was different. And you can tell by the bridge and shield generators on the top and stuff like that it's not exactly the same. I think this was maybe Clone War era? I forget. But anyway, so with that said, maybe these were all white interiors. Not sure. This is not the main, although I don't know which one is the helm. It's probably this one back here, actually. Those are probably for looks, but this is probably going to be your main. Yep, there we go. Okay, so we've got ship repulsors, which sounds amazing. We've got reactors, cameras, fire control, laser turrets, missile turrets, turbo lasers. Turbo laser turret. Okay. The text thing was throwing me off here. Jump drives, control camera. I'm not going to mess around with a lot of the programmable blocks for aiming and missiles and blah blah blah. Two reasons. One, it's complicated and I usually don't get it to work correctly. Two, I don't have any active targets to really target, so it doesn't usually work well anyway. Now, I'm trying to figure out if these repulsors are actually trying to figure out if those are actually turrets or not. I think they are. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay, so there's the repulsors. Toggle. Maybe the repulsors are actually repulsor engines and they're modded thrusters. Yeah, it's not moving when I turn those off and then it moves. Okay, so that's the thrusters. I was thinking repulsors like Iron Man's gauntlet type thing, but they're engines. So, with that, let's test out. So surprisingly, with the mass and size of the ship, it accelerates pretty great and decelerates. I mean, it's using modded thrusters, so it isn't super shocking, but another surprise, I'll try and give you some background images so you can see the have some point of reference, but it actually moves pretty good. That's one of those that, considering... Ha! That's cool. I just noticed that back little hexagon square, hexagon area. I'm surprised they actually got that in there. That's pretty cool. If I remember correctly, from Star Wars Squadrons, the most recent game they came out with, that's actually a port that you hit as a fighter to open a doorway so that you can have a boarding crew go in. I wonder if you could actually enter through that area or not. That would be kind of intriguing. Now, another caveat. I do not know how much of an interior this has. I don't know if I'm missing anything. I probably have. I do encourage you guys to, if you like some of these builds, to check them out yourself, because I never really go in already knowing what's available and whatnot, so I always encourage you to look at the builds yourself, because there is a high chance that I will miss something that you guys may have wanted to see. But I digress. I mean, I don't like doing... For those of you that may be new to the channel or something, I know a lot of my veteran viewers are already familiar with this, but I tend to go through the builds as I would walk through them as any other player that downloaded them for the first time. All you had to do, or all you had to go on, was the workshop file and description, yada yada. So because of that, there is a lot of things that I don't know beforehand because I have not actually walked through the build before. I just feel like that's an important note to make, because I've had some people say, oh, you missed things, and it's like, well, I do it as if I just found the file, looked at the pictures, and then went, cool, let's check it out, like most people would do playing the game. So I feel like that's the most helpful way to show things off, because it's mirroring more of what you'd actually do. But anyway, enough of that. So with that, we're going to wrap this one up, and let's move on to the last one. Okay, so last but not least, we have the Magnetite Ore Works Infinity Drill and Factory. This one is not using DLC, and I don't believe it uses mods either, so it's a pure vanilla build. Well, no, I don't know if it... No, it did say no DLC. And I don't think it uses DLC. No, it does require DLC. Sorry about that. It doesn't have mods. It is a vanilla build. Now, I will say, I think part of it had to do with the terrain here that I'm at. I don't have it exactly flat, and I could not, for the life of me, get this to paste to, I guess I'm on a hill or something, where the whole thing was embedded into the ground the way that it's supposed to, so you'll have to ignore some of the exposed parts, but this halfway first block area is supposed to be somewhat into the ground. And, you know, I would paste it. I even tried another one over there. It wasn't working. I would do it like this, and it looks fine. You know, the first edge is in the ground, and so you're like, cool, and you paste it, and then you fly to the other end, and it's sticking up. So, kind of bear with me on that. And I tried the whole gravity align thing and stuff, and it just wasn't cooperating. But this is designed in a way to create an infinite drill, I guess, which is this guy right here. It looks like it looks similar. I don't know exactly how it's done, but it looks similar to on a much more elaborate scale. Oh my, okay, yeah, much more elaborate scale. But it looks similar to kind of the design that I did in my personal Let's Play, where it's basically going to auto-generate or weld as it goes, rather, a kind of connecting pillar kind of thing that it can then attach to. But this is way more elaborate. Like, it's got lights and projectors or not projectors, a table here. It's got the different warning hazard things, multiple pistons. Like, mine's pretty bare bones. So this is actually really, really cool. Really well done. But part of the reason that I picked this one had nothing to do with the infinite drill thing. I actually didn't even notice it had that until just now. The main reason I picked this is the sheer level of detail that it has on this build. It just, like, all of the screenshots just looked really, really cool. Now, one thing, I'm kind of stuck in here. I was trying to get out of here. One thing that I have to point out that I don't know if it will disappoint people or not, but I probably won't be fooling around with the drill too much, or at all, really, probably, in this episode, because one, time, two, I don't believe that on my world settings I have block damage on at the moment, because for creative inspiration type stuff it was easier to paste things in without it blowing up on you, but it makes it problematic to test out drill things for, well, if you don't understand why not having block damage on doesn't make sense to test drills, I'm not explaining. I feel like that's self-explanatory, but yeah, you can look through all this. I mean, they've got incomplete, I think that's oxygen tanks. Okay, I was gonna say like the either conveyors or something like that, but no, it's oxygen tanks to do piping and stuff like that. I think that's a really cool, really neat idea. But there's a lot. I mean, even just like these fake silo towers, you've got the frame around here, the faked pipes with warning labels, and then you've got the like there's just a lot to this build. Even the damaged thrusters to give you the smokestack thing. Really cool. There's a lot going on here. And yeah, I'm a dum-dum. I should have recognized that it uses DLC from this. If it doesn't use mods and it's got letters, it uses the new DLC. We've also got a landing pad here. There is also an instruction in the description for this that when you paste in the blueprint to make a GPS positioning and add it to the LCD screens and stuff like that so that it can properly extend the drill. Like I said, I'm not doing that part because I don't plan on actually testing the drill, but that is something to note if you wanted to actually make use of this, that you would need to do that. I did see the ore processing station. It looked like there was a ton of refineries. But yeah, just all the little pipe things and so on and whatnots. It's just really well done. Very well thought out. A lot of intricate bits and bobs. What are you? Oh, that's the back end of a store. Okay. I didn't recognize that block. I was like, wait a minute, what are you? Oh, now that's cool. That's a neat touch. They're using atmospheric thrusters to give it kind of a fan look behind the vents. That's cool. That is really cool. So yeah, you've got scripts and things. It doesn't use mods, but it does use scripts to monitor the inventory and whatnot. I'm not sure if it's using a script or timer blocks or what to actually manage the drill. I think it's a script, but I could be wrong. There's also got I don't know if this is all or if it's just unwanted material from the drill or not. A quick way to test, I suppose, or check that, I suppose, would be to see if this goes to a collector or just a hole in the ground. Oh! That's really cool! Hold up. I didn't even think about that. Okay. So if I'm understanding this correctly, which, coin toss, my guess, I'm stuck, get out of here, is this conveyor system goes all the way up here to the connector, which is essentially going to tie into the main spine of the drill, basically, and it's sorting everything up to the connectors here. So, rather than having the drills on the actual drilling platform storing their materials, what I think is happening here is as the drills down there collect stone, it comes up through the conveyor system, it gets kicked out so their drills down on the ground always stay clear, and then these come down here, the rocks or whatever, and they fall on another set of drills. And when they do, I'm guessing those drill them back up, kind of thing, and put them into the refineries and other places or storage containers, which is kinda cool and kinda crazy. The one question that I would be curious about is whether the drills was purely a cosmetic design choice, Because you could just put collectors here too and have it dumped onto collectors, but it may not give the aesthetic vibe that the builder was looking for, which I understand, that's a cool idea, but I'm not sure if there is any functional change in using drills over using a collector or something. Oh, okay, and then you've actually got the drill. This is the actual drill separate part, like not the whole mining rig. This is just the drill. So I'm guessing this is also an area where you could monitor the depth and so on and whatnot. Timer block drill start, stop. You can keep an eye on things. I like the vibe of this build. I think that's just the long and the short of it, that it's just, I don't know if I would actually use it. It's really complicated. There's a lot of resources to build, as opposed to just doing the functionality. But I just like how it looks. It has a very well thought out vibe to it. Like every part of this build was done on purpose, and it was done with that industrial feel in mind and stuff like that. So I like builds a lot when they feel like they have a coherent vision behind them, like everything is for a reason and it fits the vibe or theme or whatever. I really enjoy those, and I think this has it in spades. So yeah, and we also got a really large landing pad here. I mean, I didn't really talk about it too much, but there's not a lot to say. It's just a gigantic landing pad for a really large cargo vessel, transport, supply, whatever you would need a very large cargo vessel for. I'm fairly sure... Oh, there's all the refineries. I knew I saw them somewhere. I'm fairly sure that we looked at most all of the interior parts, I think. Oh, maybe not. I guess not, because there's hydrogen engines. I totally missed this area. Yeah, I love the industrial feel to this. Like, everything just feels very factory. You've got a lot of engines and fans and pistons and cables and pipes and stuff. Like, everything just feels super, super duper industrial. And again, so when you're looking for an industrial build, or that's what's been, like, somebody said, hey, this is more of an industrial, it delivers on what it said it was setting out to do. And that's why I think I like this build so much. It's like, not even that it's practical or anything, it just works. When you think, I want a factory, here you go. Factory done. So anyways, I thought this one was really impressive. And again, yes, and it has wood floors. That was really what sealed the deal. But I do think it's one of those that, again, I started the inspiration series to give building ideas and maybe give you, notions or design concepts, or more importantly, building techniques, where if you thought about, I want to do it this way, I want pipes, I want rafters, I want it to look really gritty, well, then you walk around and you see how somebody else did it, and you go, oh, that's how you do it, or that's one way to do it at least. So I think this has a lot of different little tips and techniques for you, if you were looking to look at different design builds, especially for aesthetic design and stuff like that. Oh, and here's another little collector stage. Yeah, see, there's collectors here. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that there's probably no difference. It just fit the theme better to have the drills be the receiving end of the ejection ports and stuff like that. Because much like this, the modules here add that pipe in industrial feel to it, but they obviously don't do anything. So I think that was just done for aesthetics, and it worked. But yeah, so I think that's going to do it for this episode. I'm going to wrap things up here for today. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.